Hey there YouTube, Shady Bill's Garage here, and we're going to do a tire size comparison on a 150 tire on the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650 and Continental GT. Does it fit? What are the pros and cons? How does it feel to actually ride it? As well as I'm going to go over a quick, now I have about 8,000 miles between both these two bikes, and what is broken, what bike is needed a repair, what bike hasn't needed a repair. All right, so we're going to start with the 150 70/18 rear tire that I put on both these bikes. They fit perfectly. I read a couple people say you can't use the center stand on the Interceptor. As you can see, the center stand clears absolutely fine. A little closer on this side, but it feels absolutely fine. The closest part here is the chain guard. It is barely touching. I thought I was going to have to notch it, but it has not touched yet. So that does fit, but depending on the model of tire you get, you may have to notch your chain guard a little bit, but it clears the chain. This is as wide as you go. 160, you're going to hit your chain or your chain guard, absolutely. But as you can see, it really does fill out the bike much nicer. It fits on the rim well. You can see there's a little arc out to it, but it definitely fits better. And here, I'll show you. Obviously, this tire is going to be a little skinnier because it has no air in it, but that's the difference. And this is what the stock tire looked like on my Interceptor after 6,200 miles. This is my stock front, and it's about time to go, but you know, it still has enough on the sides. Center's always good on the fronts. My son's bike I changed on the Continental. I changed just because I was changing mine. He had more life lift on the front. This bike has about 2,400 miles on it. And as you can see, his front tire is still really, really good. So the pros, the handling, I gotta say, riding back to back, and the reason I put mine on, I thought the bike was much more stable and more confidence inspiring when you were leaning it than the stock tire. So I decided to change his rear to the exact same tire. It does cause, it's a little less flickable. So it uses a little bit more bar pressure to drop down into the turn. Certainly not in an annoying way at all. But once you set your line, it definitely seems to hold the line better and seems a little less wallowy and more controllable. And son said the exact same thing about his bike. Now, the GT with the lower handlebars always seemed to hold the line a little better. I think with the more weight on the front wheel, it always seemed to handle a little better, and it was a little more planted than the much more comfortable Interceptor, and even more so now. I just drove this for the last 20 miles. I went to visit my mother this morning, and I'd say now that it has the 150 rear tire, it definitely feels more planted, and a little more confidence inspiring, although you do lose some of that neat flickability. So like I said, these are 150, 70, 18 rears, so they're a little odd tire size. These are actually the OEM equipment adventure bike tires from the Africa Twin. So all in all, they look better. They definitely fill out the back of the bike better, and they give you more confidence. As far as repairs go, this is my Interceptor. I've had 0 repairs. This bike has not broken. It's been the picture of reliability for the past 6,200 miles. I had this bike last year when time for my son to buy a bike. I'm like, this bike's been so good. I had about 3,000 miles on it at the end of last year. Now I have 6. We went and got him this as a holdover. It was originally a blue bike. He traded the tank with someone because he liked the black better. But except for that, it's basically stock except for the exhaust and the headlight. This bike has not been flawless. This bike has had 2 problems, both minor, both that would have been fixed under warranty if I had bothered to go to the dealer. The dealer's an hour away. The first thing that happened was this gas cap just blew up. He went to put gas in the bike one day, turned this, pulled the tank out, and all the guts inside here just scattered out of nowhere. You can't just buy just that cap. Like I looked online, so I called the dealer. The dealer said they would take it, but I've heard a lot of backed up in parts availability here in the States. So I wound up going on eBay, and from India directly. It took about a week to get here. I got a new gas pack cap, a new ignition lock, and I got the this little lock here. In one set, it was like $45. It was delivered to me. Obviously, the first thing I did is put the gas cap on. Then I had 2 keys. So this took about 5 minutes to put in. And honestly, the new ignition switch took me about a half an hour. All you gotta do is drop the headlight. You unbolt it, the bolts here for the gauges, and then you go into the back of the headlight, you switch the clip. Easy as pie. So that was 46 bucks. Well, not worth going to the dealer for, way not worth dealing with warranty work. The second thing is it just stopped charging one day. And that turned out to be the voltage regulator, or the regulator rectifier. Once again, the dealer said they would take it. They said, bring it on in. We'll be glad to fix it. But once again, it was $42 shipped from India. Took a week to get here. Took me an hour to put in. It was a little fiddly. It was kind of a pain in the ass. But, you know, for me to spend an hour fixing it, it would take me an hour to drive up there to the dealership, plus, let's say, a half hour to go through the service department, an hour home, and then to pick it up another hour. So I'm looking at 6 hours of time, 5 hours of time to get something fixed that I could do myself for 1 hour's worth of labor and 40 bucks. It just didn't make sense. But that said, the dealer was more than willing to say, yep, bring it on in. That'll be covered. So $80 in repairs, and this bike has 2,500 miles on it. So this one was not as reliable as this. I mean, a gas cap is a gas cap. It can't be more simple than that. But anyway, here we are, 2 years in from my 2022 Interceptor, which I also changed the gas tank on because I liked the Continental GT one so much. And 2,500 miles or 2,400 miles here on this holdover 2022 that he bought in February of 2024. So anyway, if you're thinking of going to a wider tire, I highly recommend it. Not only does it look good, everything fits fine, and the bike will be more stable. Thanks, YouTube.